So look, this is generally an adult show. As such, you may hear things that aren't necessarily family friendly, and that's okay. However, there are some families that are perfectly comfortable with swearing, with leaving their kids in a bar while their parents do what they do and talk like they talk and just be who they are, because that's okay. But be forewarned, please, please take heed. There is a chance you are going to hear foul language. Not that we pride ourselves on the volume of foul language, but just be aware that it exists and that it's okay. But if it's not, just wander off now, because you're going to hear some stuff. Cool?
People of the reef keeping world, welcome to Reef Beef. On today's very special Reef Beef, Ben and Rich are joined by Jim Graham, Telegraham, and we're going to talk a lot about preparing for disaster. This show is a long time in coming, and we're friggin' happy to be able to bring it to you finally. And we're happy to have Jim back, and he's not wearing pants.
This show is brought to you by saltwateraquarium.com, powered by PolypLab, and brought to you by Champion Lighting and Supply.
Jim Graham,
Yes.
for the people who are watching who may not know who you are,
Who wish they didn't.
who the hell are you, and why are we talking to you?
Why are you here?
So a long time ago, really not that long ago, Rich and I started talking about some backup battery stuff because he lives in the wonderful land of no electricity. So that was an awesome opportunity for me to help. It's something that I enjoy. I'm a classically trained electrician from the United States Air Force, where I worked on a KC-135, the B-2 stealth bomber, and the YL-1A airborne laser. It was a big 747 that went pew-pew and shot down missiles with the lasers. But I've always enjoyed electricity. I really enjoy batteries. I enjoy trying to mash up different things to save my reef. And one of those is a backup battery system. I am on Instagram.
And
I have taken, go ahead.
And you have a YouTube channel,
From which I've taken a light hiatus,
right?
which has nothing to do with Ben's anus, but I have taken, actually I'm going to come back. This is actually my first time streaming or recording or video in since I stopped. But I'm going to be back, so I appreciate you all having me on.
And we're honored to have you and to pop your
Jumpstart.
secondary cherry. I mean, jumpstart.
Oh, I like that. Let me give me just a second. I want to hold that close.
Okay, hold it. How close are you
Kickstart
holding
your
it?
heart.
Okay, I'm good.
Oh, good. We need it. It's got to go black and white with rain droplets and zoom in slowly on you while you
Oh,
hold it.
brother, that's not rain. But go ahead.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Hey, before we get to the meat of this show, which I think is pretty meaty, I think we have a lot to talk about. I want to see if anybody's got beefs. If you've got beefs, we'll do some quick beefs, and then we'll jump into planning for disaster and what that means.
Jim.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my beef?
Yeah.
Actually, you guys talked about it in your last show when somebody posted in forums are just an interesting concoction of assholery. It's like new people go in there and they ask questions and they immediately get pounced on. Sometimes that doesn't exist, but sometimes it absolutely exists, and that's not cool. One of the things you guys brought up in the last show, Rich, I think it was you, where you're talking about people jumping in for him, asking for help with an apex of all things. You talked about maybe the responses coming back just being douchebaggery. My beef is when people come back, they respond with, "Well, just get a hydros." I'm like, fuck you. How about you just answer the question? If you don't like the question, wander the fuck off. Or just fuck off. Either way. That's mine.
We were talking about people not staying on target on a subject question.
Now, I'm a wanderer, right? I will absolutely wander around a little bit most of the time I get back, and I get it, but agreed. Just be kind. Offer positive support, offer whatever. If you don't know, it's cool. Don't talk. If
Don't
you
fill the
know,
space.
do it. Share. Help. If you know and you're a dick, don't do that. Okay.
It's good.
Thanks.
The beef I wrote down is related to that. I'm going to read this. I haven't read it since I wrote it down late last night or the night before. So I don't actually know what it says, but I know it's related to what you said. And it says, forums are just a venue for people to piss on your parade. Then you get told to toughen up and ignore the people you don't like. Fuck that bullshit kind of community building. How about stop people from being assholes? Why should I have to change my life and protect myself from assholes to be on your forum? Why don't you stop there being assholes?
If I could, this is self-serving, but our Discord has been running like
It's
alarmingly smoothly.
Yes. It's self-policing too.
We've had 2 assholes and we dealt with them within minutes of them being assholes. And we dealt with them. We didn't say, hey, you know, you people who are reacting to him, you're the bad people. We said, no. These people started this bullshit. Fuck them.
Fuck off.
So anyway,
Yeah. Agreed.
that's what I wrote. Ben,
All right.
you got a
My
beef for today?
my beef is myself.
Oh.
Richard and I went on Reef Bum. Right before we started recording, I thought I saw something on Instagram. I thought I saw that the Reef Builders studio was coming down. And I said something in passing on the show. And it simply wasn't true. It was a complete mistake on my part. I thought I saw something, and it's still new to me, like having an audience, you know, because when we record these things, I feel like I'm just talking to some buddies. And I just said this thing in passing, and it had some more reach than I anticipated or even fathomed at the time. And, you know, I apologize to Windsor. I apologize to the Reef Builders team. And sometimes it gets away from you. You may say something that affects people and you don't think about it.
What's happening with the studio?
I swear, we were getting ready to record. I was throwing stuff together. I looked on Instagram real quick. I swear I thought I saw. I might have
No, don't even say it. Don't
say it. Don't. But what's happening now with it?
I spoke to Windsor personally to apologize to her, and she said it's totally fine.
Awesome. As
There
it
we
should
go.
be. That's the way it works.
Yep.
Sweet. And see, Jim's sign behind him, the Be Kind sign. We don't give a shit if you make a mistake. You
Nope.
or Ben or anybody listening. Just still, I made a fucking mistake, and then we'll all go, cool. As long as you're not
Yeah.
being an asshole, we're all here to get better together.
I want to hug it out, bitches.
I do. Oh, I wish I had your pants.
It could be enhanced. It could be. Oh, enhanced. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Benjamin,
Hey, Richard, do you know
Yeah.
where good reefing stuff is sold?
I do, but you tell me where, so we're on the same page.
saltwateraquarium.com.
.com, which is for airplane company, not saltwateraquarium.com, but I did it anyway. Saltwateraquarium.com for all your needs. We've been using saltwateraquarium.com since before there was a Reef Beef podcast, but now there is a Reef Beef podcast, and saltwateraquarium.com has been super awesome in supporting us since the beginning. So we like them. Not only do they have products and stuff, but it's like a family business where, you know, the grandfather is chained in the basement and packs our stuff. So
On Pa.
it's great. Mom, Pa. I love them because I order something like at 11 in the morning, and by 1 o'clock it's shipped. So
They
I
don't
love
mess
that.
around, and they have 3 locations across the United States, and that's why they get it to you so fast.
That's why. And they got all kinds of stuff. They got an app. I'm about to do an order for a bunch of reef cleaners. They do that now, and they're from Fishless Systems, so the odds of you getting a fish disease goes way down. And I like the idea that I can get all the stuff in one place. So yeah, saltwateraquarium.com. Click the link down below, and when you order from them, make sure that you write something in the notes about Reef Beef. We love it when the owner of saltwateraquarium.com forwards us stuff that you all have sent to them, and it also lets them know that they're getting something.
Let's get some
advertising them.
Reef Beef haikus. to them.
Haikus are really good. So dig it. Thank you, saltwateraquarium.com.
It could be enhanced. It could be. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
All right, disaster recovery.
Holy shit.
We wanted to talk about this. Look, it's like a double whammy, right? This is two things in one. You're planning for a disaster is almost exactly the same thing as planning to be gone from your tank
Yes.
for a while.
It is.
So I have an old article, which I perused yesterday, and it's still pretty okay. It's called Planning for Disaster. We'll put a link downstairs. It talks about some general concepts. Or Planning to Leave Your Reef is called. But Planning for Disaster, I'll get us going with the first discussion point, which is I think the most important time to plan for disaster is right fucking now.
Yes. Don't wait for the bad thing to happen.
Too late.
If the bad thing happened, you're shit out of luck.
Shit out of luck. And man, I tell you, for years, I felt pretty good about having some air pumps that would come on in a power outage that would move some water around because we don't have big power outages here traditionally. And that's changing. It's probably changing everywhere as more people are using the electricities. And I was getting pretty nervous about my system. I would leave and it was like, if there's a power outage, it's just fucked. Okay. Yep. And then I talked to Jim and I put a whole thing on. We'll get to it at some point where we'll go through it in some detail. But man, do I sleep better at night knowing that that's there. I was out about 3 weeks ago and a transformer blew up, right? This is why you want to do it now, because you have no idea when the thing is going to happen. It's not going to happen in the winter. It's not going to happen in the summer. It's just going to happen whenever the hell it happens. Transformer blew. I knew I had 8 hours worth of time to not care about the power outage.
It's so freeing. It's like taking off your pants.
It's exactly like taking off your pants. And since then, we've been doing more electrical work around the house. We've organized the panel. We've combined some circuits. We've gotten rid of a bunch of knob and tube wiring. And every time we do one of these projects, I sleep better. I can just sleep better. So do it now. What else? What else can we tell people?
You remember that whole airplane flying into the electrical pole and it made it to the national news and it was Thanksgiving weekend?
I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah. That's down the street. So I'm coming back with my family from Western Maryland. I'm dropping off this rental car that I got because I wanted to see what it was like. And then my phone blows up because where I work, all the on-call stuff started just igniting. Like all these alarms started happening because connection was no longer existing. And connection was no longer existing because some chode flew his airplane into a pole on a cloudy, foggy, a little drizzly night. Unfortunate, he lived, so I'm comfortable calling him a chode. Also, the passenger lived, not a chode. So everything's down. Who called me? No, I called my neighbor. No, I don't remember. Oh, I called my son because he was still at home. I was like, look out the window. I'm like, you see any lights? He's like, everything's done, because he knew he didn't have power. So I came home, but I didn't care. I had time because of the battery systems in the house. I had time to go get the generator from the motorhome because I keep a spare one in the motorhome and I had one in the garage. I had time to get them fired up. I had time to bust out my emergency extension cord box of goodness, because you got to have that. Don't take from that, but have one. So you have all of the cords, all of the power strips, all of the everything you need. And I just wandered around the house, plugging everything in without care, because it ran long enough for me to do that.
Your battery backup did.
The battery backup ran long enough for me to get around the house, even plugged in the refrigerator, right? So I had the backup power systems that I needed to span that time of no power, of me not being home, of the generators not running.
How long did that take? How long was that before the not to generators? How long was the chode effect in effect?
Oh, so there was a chance it was going to last until 7 p.m. the following day.
Uh-huh.
And it lasted until 11 p.m. So it really wasn't that long.
Oh,
Right,
great.
same day. So it wasn't horrible, but it's the Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend. For those of you who are listening who are not in the United States, that's when we go celebrate some stuff we shouldn't be doing, but we eat some chicken or some turkey and we get all fat and shit. So that's what we did. But we came back and everything was fine.
That's great. Ben, your situation's a little different with clients. What kind of thoughts do you have about what do you do for them? Or what, what's your plan?
Obviously I'm in Houston, so hurricanes can be a thing here. If not even that, flooding and whatnot. I guess for the most part, one of the things I do is just have because by and large my clientele is fairly wealthy. And so I just, when I get a new client, whether it's existing tank or I'm putting one in, I just have a quick discussion of like, most of these people have those whole Generacs, like on
that's what I was going to ask.
Natural gas and all that. But I think it depends how big your house is, but those things are at least $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
they have a $7,000 one if you want. It starts
they do?
there. Yeah, but you probably got to go out there and Gilligan bike that shit.
Well, yeah, these people have this whole thing like there's a concrete pad for them. The Generac is like the size of a small car. They self-test and all this stuff. It's hooked up to natural gas. They don't even know they don't go dig a generator out of their garage or any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And let me ask you, Jim, I'm curious real quick, because like you have a whole house battery system?
Nope. No, it's just targeted system. So each tank has its own little battery. Well, the one downstairs have a larger one.
Okay.
But the I would like to have a whole house. Actually, Julian Sprung came and talked at our local club here and talked about his solar and battery, I believe he had at the time, system. And that's kind of what spurred my interest in jumping into this a little further. But yeah, mine's just targeted circuits.
And it's funny too, because then I have a plethora of, different levels of clientele. So some of these people, I just try to make sure that I have a conversation with everyone that I have.
Yep.
That's like, look, we've been there, done this before, flooding, hurricanes, whatnot. Stuff happens. I may or may not be able to get to you. I might not. We had a hurricane where I couldn't even talk to people. I was just driving around trying to show up to people's houses, just do the best I can. But so that, you have to have something, whether it's a lot of the lower end clients, hey, just have that Honda E2000, that
Absolutely.
inverter, that thing, just
good little
to run
generator.
a tank.
Yep.
I even had a client once, I was never able to get to him during a hurricane. And I found out after the fact, his tank was fine. He had like a car battery and a well bait, like thing churning up in there. I mean, there was some metal involved and that wasn't awesome, but it was better than a dead tank.
Oh yeah. Which reminds me of your last talking about the lives of the critters we're keeping.
Yeah.
If you reef, you need to have some sort of system to supply your house power or your tank power or something power during an outage. I just don't. I can't accept that we're going to keep these animals and not care about them when power goes out. Of course, there's silliness like Ian hitting Sanibel or something like that, right? I mean, that stuff and Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah.
At that point, I mean, you can try all you want, and there's somebody in my Discord that actually survived it with a battery backup system, but their house took a beating, and then ultimately they needed to rebuild some stuff to make it. But I mean, at some point, you're not going to win, but you sure should try.
If you have a tiny tank, it could just be like have a big package of batteries and a bubbler, but maybe past 50 gallons, and that's just not working too well.
All right. So what's the problem? Okay. So your power goes out, right? Why you care about that is if it's out long enough, which is going to be different in every tank, because different sand beds and different rocks and different animals, they all have different oxygen demands, right? So about a half hour is in my head. If I'm going to get anything longer than a half hour out, actually 15 minutes, I just start to get nervous, but it's probably fine between half hour and an hour. But what happens is the flow stops, the heat stops, everything stops. But the ones you care about, flow, heat, and oxygen, are really kind of the three things. Is there anything else super important? Lighting, we don't care about,
Nope.
right? Not at all. Trace dosing, we absolutely don't care about. Calcium reactor, we don't care about.
Skimmers, no.
Auto
Nothing.
top off, none of that. We don't care about anything else. You just want your animals not to suffocate, which is on my neck of the woods, the most likely problem, right?
Mhm.
In other necks of the woods, heaters become more important or chillers become more important. So you need some plan for those things based on the kind and length of outage you expect to have. So how do you determine the kind of outage you expect to have?
You plan for the bad thing. You plan for the bad thing to happen. I do. Not everybody's going to, but I'm comfortable making sure that I go a little overboard just to ensure that I don't have to worry about it when it's time.
How bad a thing are you planning for?
Oh, days. I'm planning on days in the winter. And I'll have enough time to, I have a gas furnace, so I'll have enough time to keep the tank running, keep the tanks warm. Like Texas was a good example of that when the houses got so cold, they couldn't keep shit
That
alive,
was
right? Because the
horrible.
heaters aren't going to heat up. They're not,
A
they're
lot
just
of
not
reef
going to do it.
tanks. A lot
But
of
if you-
reef tanks went down.
Yep. But if you have a gas furnace, and I'm lucky to have that, then I can absolutely wire in my gas furnace to my generator and heat the house. So, I mean, I will go overboard. I will ensure that I have multiple layers of protection. You know, the first one is I'm not going to be home, keep the tank running. Once the tank is running, when power is out, I need to have a plan. How far away am I? Can I engage my neighbors or my daughter to come over and take care of what I need to be taken care of? When they come over, do they know what they're doing? Have I simplified the system enough where they can just unplug one thing and plug it in someplace else for the generator or whatever, calling that granimals, right? So you paint a plug red, or you put a sticker on that, match the star to star. You do something stupid, because it could be whatever, 2 o'clock in the morning. If you can get a hold of somebody, they're going to be sleepy and not give a shit about your animals. But if you buy them pizza, they might care later. But if you make it simple for them, then it's easier for them and to keep the animals alive and for you to be comfortable.
It could be enhanced. It could be. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Ben,
Richard,
champion lighting.
and supply.
Yeah, they sent me this.
That is a Nicolas Cage. It's a sticker that's a pickle with Nicolas Cage's face on it.
They also sent me this. Or did they send me this?
An invoice.
No, oh, this must have come from Russell. Never mind.
It
This
did.
is Todd won't care. Moldy fuck bunker stickers. You have to be a member to know what the hell that's about.
Yeah.
And Scottish.
I love Champion Lighting and Supply because as a maintenance guy, I always have to have a wholesale outlet for dry goods and whatnot. And Champion Lighting Supply does most of that for me. I'm
Perfect.
very
Champion
pleased and happy.
Champion Lighting and Supply. They're always looking at new products. SeaTac is a new one that they're bringing to market. So they're cool people, and they're really nice to us. So we like them a lot. So check them out. Champion Lighting and Supply at championlighting.com.
It could be enhanced. It could be. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Over here, I don't know how big to plan for, because it's kind of like if we get a big enough earthquake here,
Yep.
I have no idea how everything could go down. If it's big enough, there's just nothing to do, you know?
But that's one of your, it's going to go too far and you just can't do shit about it. But
Just
you can
can't
try.
do shit.
Right?
The hard part is how much do you plan for? So, you know, the easiest and best thing, if you can do it and afford it, is what Ben's top clients do, is a whole house backup system. So if the power goes out, your house doesn't actually even notice, because the power never goes out. There's an auto transfer switch and some kind of generator or batteries, and there's no blip at all. Just your neighbors are at your doors crying, and you're like, fuck off, you're zombies. Actually,
If they have hot dogs, let them in.
let them in. Otherwise,
You're gonna be
they're
hungry.
zombies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough. So I've got 8 hours of electricity in a battery to run my system, pretty much, and then I've got a dual. I've got a Honda knockoff, or I think I have a Honda. I might have a Honda, the one you were talking about, but I got a dual fuel generator. Because the idea of using a can of propane seemed to make more sense to me, because that stores better and it lights up better. So I can move to that. And if I were to do that, we'll get to that now, because now my tank life is easy. My battery's going. It's got 3 plugs going into my battery. The battery's coming out of my battery that go to what needs to keep running, right? If there's a problem and my battery is dying, I can either charge the battery with my generator or unplug those 3 plugs and plug them right into the generator, and the same stuff gets covered. So there. So that's my options. But, you know, after, yeah, I would like to go whole house. That costs money. I don't have that money for that right now. So that's what I'm doing. And it's definitely a step up. From just having air pumps that would move some water around for a little while.
How much shit did you, huge opportunity, right? To rearrange everything the way you like it. So how much of all of your control, unless you're going to talk about those later and I'm sort of spoil it, but how much of that did you get to do to make yourself feel better in that regard?
Almost 100%.
Hell yeah.
Almost everything. I planned on doing everything. There's some stuff still to do. And the stuff to do now is more on the organizational side that you were talking about.
Okay.
You know, going through and labeling everything.
Yeah.
On the cord and on the plug and on the thing. Because man, trying to ask somebody to find a plug is a pain in the butt.
Yep.
And also remembering what you plugged in is a pain in the butt.
Oh, that's true.
So
you're no spring chicken, right? So it's really hard to, like, tomorrow it's gone.
But I also didn't do it till recently, you know.
Okay.
It was like, I'm always going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. And you know, I redid all the electrical. I mean, you know, we had to figure out what everything was in my panel, because my panel was a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we figured that out. We joined things that weren't doing much to free up some circuits. We ran some new circuits. So there's, I think, 5 or 6 circuits now that just do tanks, because that was easy to do when we were doing the reshuffle. And, you know, new plugs on almost everything, because plugs go bad. New GFIs.
Yeah.
Richard, you have an old house, so that almost like compounds that, and it sent you on an interesting tangent of having to sort of, like you're saying, rewire a lot of your house.
Yeah. Well, it's something that should be done anyway. Knob and tube is just not good.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is. I mean, I'll be knob.
I'm tube,
and I'll be tube together with knob. I'll be
knob and tube. I'm knob and tube.
We're salt and pepper, but knob and tube. I'm Spinderella.
Yeah.
God, I don't believe I pulled that out.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
I don't even know what we were talking. Knob and tube is the old kind. It's the old kind of wiring that we all used to have. There's like everything. I don't really understand it, but like everything is hot or everything is neutral. It's crazy. And it's called knob and tube because there's porcelain knobs and tubes that stick out from your rafters that the wire wraps around and then goes to where you need it to be.
And it's all jacketed by whale skin.
It's jacketed by whale skin.
It's not whale skin.
There's no ground.
What?
Yeah, I grew up in a house that was like that.
So most of my house was a single family dwelling when it was born. This is so boring. And then became a duplex, and then it became a single family again. And when additions and stuff happened in the 40s or 60s, most of the knob and tube on the ground floor was gone. They took it all out because when you remodel is when you get rid of it. There's still some stuff. Almost all of it's gone. I've got some runs from like ceiling lights that are in the ceilings, and I'm not going to just break down the ceilings to be able to change that wire from knob and tube. So I've done pretty much everything I can, and every remodel we do, we'll do more if we can. But yeah,
Cool.
I sleep so much better. A bunch of the knob and tube just got pulled out yesterday from an attic space that was like, the knob and tube was literally like a spider web of wires in this attic space. And it was like, what goes to, holy, you know, there's an outlet that worked that had one wire going to it, and, you know, shit like that. So that's all gone. So yeah, take the opportunity to fix that. The other thing that is really cool. No, let's talk more generals before we get into my specific.
I'm just thinking real quick about two different, you know, levels of things that I've experienced that were going through my head as y'all were talking. One was like, sometimes power can go out in a very like localized type of thing. You could just have a random rolling blackout, but I did have a client that I had to drive out to once just because they opened up the street near her house and they screwed up something, and she ran out there, you know, and was like berating these people because it put her reef tank, you know, in jeopardy, and her husband wasn't there, and they just had like a rollout generator, and they just opened up the street and accidentally hit a cord, and so I had to run out there and do what I could to keep her tank alive, and it lasted about a day, and then that was over. That was really random and localized. And then I'm thinking another time that happened, well, to me and to all my clients, but I can't remember what hurricane, but we had a hurricane, and I think it was Ike, and I was out of power for 8 days, and I did have a generator, but getting the gas and all that became problematic, and everything in my house melted, and I had to drain it off into the street. That was the situation where it's like, do your best, but
It's too much. Yep.
just fucked after 8 days.
Yeah, I got to get solar panels for my backup system. Okay, so look, the basic thing is you want to keep some water moving, and you want to keep the temperature stable. That's all.
Critical
you care
systems. Yep. Critical
And
systems only.
Those are the two: temperature and water movement, because water movement should give you oxygenation, right? You can do that with battery operated air pumps that come on when they sense a power outage. There's several on the market that are available. Get more of them than you think, because they don't put out a lot of air, and you just need water moving. Big bubbles, not little bubbles. If you're going to do it this way, you want big rolling bubbles. A big rolling bubble moves a lot of water around, and it also explodes on the surface, giving a lot of gas exchange. Or if you have a power head that you can aim up at the surface towards a wall, maybe, that's very good. You want water to be jiggling. Or if you can keep your return pump going, that's great, because there's all that oxygen exchange going down that pipe.
I was going to ask. Mind if I ask?
Ask.
I'm a return pump guy. I want to drop the power heads and keep the return pump going. There's another camp that just wants to worry about the power heads, which I understand, but I want to keep the sump moving. I don't want the sump to get funky. Thoughts?
Depends.
That is a consideration, like depending how long your power goes down. Let's say it's 24 hours or more. You need to be careful when that kicks back on if part of your system had sat, you know, like your sump
Stagnant.
sat stagnant, you know, because hydrogen sulfide, I don't know, after 24 hours, and it depends what all systems you have in there, but you know.
But if you've got a cryptic, it also depends on how big your sump is, right? The bigger the sump, the more critical to keep stuff going on in the sump, to keep water motion happening. If you have cryptic stuff, or if you have rock in your sump and that stays stagnant for 24 hours and you start it up, that's a lot of funk that you could be pumping back into your tank.
And simplicity's sake, I just want to keep one pump running. I just want to worry about that one single plug. I don't have to worry about anything else.
I mean, that's also a good consideration for DC pumps, because you know, you try to find something that, you know, is taking less of a draw.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That you could spin down. And my heaters are in my sump. So if I want to power up the heaters as well, I want to keep the sump moving.
You want to keep the sump going. Yeah. And I fought that. I have heaters distributed throughout the system, but I have a distributed system.
Yep.
I'm stupid.
It could be enhanced. It could be. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
You know what I like?
What do you like?
I like PolypLab's food and glue. That's what I like. This episode is powered by PolypLab, and I have been using their glue. Here it is. It's still here because I've been using it. They're gluelets, and I've been using the Reefroids a lot. What have you been using lately at PolypLab?
I used both of those items four times today.
4 times.
Yep.
Really quick. What did you glue?
I glued a orange Samacora frag in a 4-foot deep tank. So that was super fun. Got my armpit wet. And every tank that I cleaned today, I put a fat pinch of Reefroids in the beginning, let it flood the system, and then did my water change afterwards.
We dig it. So thank you, Reefroids, for powering our show, and PolypLab as well. I don't think we're just powered by just one product, although that would be really interesting. PolypLab's been supporting us for a long time, and we dig it. So thank you. Go check them out wherever good reefing stuff is sold.
It could be enhanced. It could be. Oh, enhanced. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
We'll jump into mine, because mine is kind of like taking all of these things and trying to make it do everything. What's the deal with UPSs, universal power supplies, and how can they be effectively used by reef keepers?
We talking about the little ones from like Staples or something like that?
That's what most people are going to think of when they, if you've got a 50-gallon reef tank, you're probably not spending thousands of dollars on a battery backup solution.
But you also
you got a generator for $300 outside.
Yep.
If something happens, you have to get there to plug everything in, right? That's fine. As long as you have a plan.
So you have an option if you buy and I would suggest pure sine wave if you're going to buy a smaller UPS. So look at a pure sine wave UPS. But you also have the option of just tapping into if you pop the cover off, you can see where the battery connections are, and you can hook up a bigger battery if you want to do that. It's super easy to do. It's DC. You're not going to hurt yourself. If you put red to black and black to red, you might let the magic smoke out, and that's gonna talk to you a little bit.
At your own risk.
At your own risk, actually. Super disclaimer. Don't run your generator inside, because that's dumb. And then know what you're doing before you start fiddling with wires.
Yeah.
But a smaller UPS can be totally useful on a smaller tank, maybe less than 50, like you're saying, Rich, and then just get a bigger battery. And it can be a lead acid battery from Walmart. It can be your car plugged into this UPS through some wires that you run in the house if you want to get a little crazy.
Jim, let me ask you a quick dumb question. Is a boat, I'm just thinking about this, is a boat battery any better than a car battery?
So that's deep cycle. And what deep cycle means is, it's not what you think it means. Deep cycle means I want to hang on to that nonverbal real quick. But anyway,
just live in it for a minute.
Yes.
Just bring it around. I don't
Creepy
have
old man.
So, right. It's like never mind. A deep cycle allows you to, it's constructed, its formulation is such that you can drain all the juice out of that battery until it's dead and charge it back up with not as much damage to the battery as, say, a typical car battery. But if you take a lead acid battery and you charge it below 50% and you charge it back up, it has degraded. A deep cycle will degrade less than a regular battery that you'll find anywhere else. So a fishing being 12 volt or 24, just depends on what you have. You can drain it all the way down and charge it back up with less damage.
So a boat battery is better than a car battery for those purposes?
It kind of depends on if you're going to drain the damn thing all the way. If you want to save, like I would buy a deep cycle, which is also why I buy lithium iron phosphates, because they are deep. If you have the opportunity to buy a deep cycle battery, go that route.
Yeah, so there's a million options, unfortunately. And you'll have to find, if you don't know, the YouTubes have great videos that explain all of this stuff. Or you find somebody who does know and you ask. The best thing to do if you're going to do that is come up with a plan on your own already. And then talk to somebody and go, what am I missing here? What have I completely misunderstood?
Yeah.
What am I trying to do? You know, figure out how, you know, the basic ideas about how much wattage you're going to need to run for how long, so you can figure out what size battery you need. And there's calculators for all that stuff online.
A kilowatt is fantastic. You don't need that. Just get a kilowatt from Amazon for however much that is, like 30
$26 bucks.
Yeah, plug your shit into that and just say, it says this wattage. And then you'll know.
It's pretty great. I got
It's
one.
easy.
I got one. If you have an Apex, your EB832 will do that for you as well. I'll also tell you how much you're spending. So there's decisions you have to make. How complex do you want to go? What disaster are you prepping for? And how you're going to address that disaster. Jim's thing about, you know, having a Bible for people. If you're not being around, you need instructions, and you need to make it as simple as possible for people.
Don't make them crawl under your tank.
Yeah, they don't want to crawl under your tank.
That wire's got to be out. So when I traveled this last week, we were gone for a week. I made it super simple, and it was on one wire, and just one wire needed to move. And if it was going to be longer than that and it was going to be cold, then we were going to move to the second wire. But whoever came over to help only had to touch a single wire.
So it's almost like you alter things before you leave, just anticipating, you know.
I do.
Well,
I'm certain the bad thing's going to happen when I'm gone.
Right. But it's not like you're going, hey, I'm putting a system together at the last minute in case something happens.
Yeah, don't do that either. Like the morning you're leaving, don't change everything.
Yeah. If it's the day before you're leaving, if it's 3 days before you're leaving, it's too late unless it's an emergency. Don't change anything.
Back to a point that you mentioned about the YouTubes, and before you start thinking about doing this, learn basic DC electricity. It is so freaking easy. So just learn the basics of DC.
Yeah.
But this is one of those things, and rightfully so, where some people, and I get it too, because there's certain subjects about aquarium keeping that I do this too, but it's like, I didn't sign up for this shit to become an attorney, a biologist,
find a friend,
electrician, you know.
Oh, it's a hobby though, right? Find a friend, find somebody who knows this stuff. People will do a lot for pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
right. I think you probably know this, Ben. What did Rich feed you?
Yeah. Well, we can't talk about that on the airwaves, but
yeah.
Where do you think the beef comes from?
Oh yeah.
Oh, snort.
Yes.
Pork loin, some call it.
When I was
waiting for me to drink.
When I was looking into all this stuff a while ago, everything in the battery was either buy a whole house battery, which is expensive, like 30 grand, 20 to 40 grand, depending on what you're doing, what you need done. Or a whole lot of DIY shit. And the DIY shit made me crazy. So I had UPSs that give me half an hour on stuff, right? But that's not enough. I wanted something more robust. And I was looking at it going, all this shit sucks. I don't want to deal with any of this stuff. I don't want to have to learn how to wire stuff together more than I already know. I don't want to have to understand something that I might screw up and let the magic smoke out. That's what I don't want to do. I don't want to burn my fucking house down with shitty 12-volt batteries. So I called Jim, and Jim says, oh, well, you want a lithium iron phosphide battery, because that'll just smoke. It won't burn your house down.
Not going to catch on fire.
And it's not going to degrade as you use it, right?
8 to 12 years worth of service, down to 70% state of charge. So you'll still have 70% of that battery after 8 years plus.
8 years. Right. So because something that might burn my house down and I have to figure out what to do with, and that's I don't like that. So Jim goes, oh, well, shit, I got something for you. And he sends me a battery, which is not the one we ended up using, but he sends me a link to an MPP, which stands for MPP. And this particular one by this company, we'll put the links down below. This one has 4 outlets already in it. So this is basically the system
Very
that I've
weird.
always wanted, but didn't know existed and didn't exist the last time I looked for it.
And it's not complicated. It is that Staples, Office Depot, UPS, only beefy.
I planned this install for like 4 months and fucking worried about every detail. And then when I set this thing up, it was like, oh, I just connected
it's
the
a bummer,
wires.
isn't it?
I haven't done solar yet. So, but other than that, it's plugged into the wall. I haven't changed the programming on it at all.
Don't
It
have
does
to.
everything I want it to. It runs in bypass. If the battery's charged, it's running what's supposed to be running on it. If you undo the power, if the power goes out, it switches to battery instantly. You could run a computer on it and it would be fine.
You don't do anything.
Nothing.
I don't do a fucking thing. And that's what I wanted, because the idea of me having to be here, if I have to be here to do it, it kind of does me no good.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if I'm in Palau and the power goes out and nobody notices, there's nothing going to happen. I mean, if I'm, you know, laundering Jim's pants by hand down in the river,
So hot.
I'm not coming back. So I
Can
looked
you wear,
at automatic
can you wear
trans-
something linen? Linen
Always.
would be nice. Okay.
I'm
Sorry to
underneath
interrupt.
this. I'm wearing linen underpants. The automatic transfer switch doesn't really work in my place. I don't have a place to put zoning won't let me have a huge propane tank.
Oh.
I don't have the space to put a pad for the propane tank anyway. And that's not cheap either. So, and the MPP, the head unit, I'll call it, that Jim linked me to, can take 400 watts of solar panels as well. So that'll be my next deal, is to put solar panels.
Hey,
Does
let
it take
me.
more? It should take more. Yeah.
I thought it took 400 watts, but when we talked about it, I kind of went, that is next summer's project. I'm not even really paying attention.
And it's a fun project to do. I did it.
Yeah, and it looks like it's nothing. What I'll
It's
actually
nothing.
do is put solar panels on the roof and plug them in.
That's
and
it.
I'll be done.
Yes.
I'm sure I'll look at how the MPP works and how it decides what to do at that point, but maybe not.
There's not much you have to do. It's already an automatic transfer switch. It's already a pure sine inverter instead of a modified wave inverter.
Yeah.
Which is good. You want that. You want a regular sine wave instead of this weird blocky looking thing that pisses off your electronics.
Why?
Because it's cleaner power. So if the power is funky, if it's a modified wave, then you're like, I fried a heater on a modified wave inverter just to play, just to see. It has to work harder, and the amps it's going to pull will absolutely be more than probably what it's rated.
Then why does it exist? Just because it's cheaper?
Cheap.
Okay.
Yep. I have several pure sine waves and I have 2 modified just to have them around just in case.
Yeah, and they exist because it was like knob and tube wiring. You didn't
Okay.
need cleaner power. You know, if you're running a refrigerator in the 1950s, you know.
So it's an 8-track. It just existed for a while and then now it's on its way out.
They're still there. Just pay attention. If you're buying an inverter, spend the extra money and get a pure sine wave.
Yeah.
You'll
Okay.
be you won't know the difference when you're using it. It'll just, but it's not going to cause you problems later.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of insurance.
Hey, the people that have like the Tesla wall thing, or even Generac was starting to do something like, is that applicable to this?
That's whole home.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a whole house. Yeah, and there's
So that's-
lots of those coming out, right?
Yeah.
Generac
there's
even has started coming out with a
lot of
wall.
a billion places have come out with them. Whether
Yeah.
they're any good or not is a whole nother question.
See, I'm waiting for LFP. So you're going to hear that. You're going to hear lithium iron phosphate. You're going to hear LFP. Those are the same. So when whole home systems or large batteries like the Tesla Powerwall are LFP, that's when I'll start paying attention.
They're doing the F for iron, like Fe iron.
Oh yeah, that's totally what it is. It's lithium iron phosphate, only people don't know what that LiFePO4 is, so they just say
Okay.
LFP.
Yeah,
So if
the
you buy a
benefit-
Tesla now, you'll see an LFP version or a lithium ion version. And the LFP has a better charge profile. It doesn't give you the range. It doesn't have the same power density as a lithium ion battery, but whatever. It has less of whatever the hell everybody's complaining about on the news. Cobalt, maybe?
Oh,
Or none, actually.
I think it's nitrates.
Nitrates.
No,
Nitrates.
That's right. Nitrates. See, I'm thrilled I didn't get a Tesla Powerwall 3 or 4 years ago because I want the better battery that's not going to explode.
Yeah, your battery will not. It's just going to smoke, and you'll be out there. Oh, wow, man.
Yeah, I'll be so hot.
It could be enhanced. It could be. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Hey, beefers, you all freaking rock. Ben and I could talk to each other all day, but where's the fun in that? That gets boring after a while. So the whole idea of doing this and sharing stuff with you guys has been great, and it's working out, and it's really fun, and we really appreciate it. The Discord's going really well. Really interesting discussions happening there in the members area and also in the open area. And we dig it. Ben, if somebody is interested in being part of our community or supporting the show, what would they do?
Being part of the community means probably the best place for that is, well, we have a Facebook Reef Beef page, but come on to the Discord, because that's really where you engage with us, ask questions. You can join a membership and get deeper into the Reef Beef fandom. But as far as helping us out, it's whatever platform, if you're listening or watching, whatever platform that you're consuming what we're putting down, do all the little stars and the bells and all that kind of stuff. Like, come into the comments section of that, throw some comments in there. I know I always go in and I like to read the comments, and no one says anything terrible. So whatever, I still love it. And share us, but share, you see the shows. If you're on a Facebook group, I don't love Facebook groups, but I'm just saying, share it to it. Your grandmother has a knitting or a canasta page, like just share it with all her canasta buddies,
So here's the thing about the share, like, and subscribe. It's and our podcast. Our podcast is for a chunk of the reef keeping world. So it's hard for us to get huge penetration to 1 million people, which we kind of like. We kind of like not having huge penetration to 1 million people. It makes the community manageable. But we, because we're not something everyone can digest, it's harder for us to find the people who should be in the community with us. So if you know people, please let them know. And like Ben said, if you wanna be a member and directly support us, head over to reefbeefpodcast.com/membership and take a look there. And of course, we super respect and are thankful for everyone who has been supporting us all this time. Thank you very much.
It could be enhanced. It could be. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
What? Hey, Jim, what do you think about like inverters you hook up to your car battery and leave your car running in the driveway?
I'm also okay with that. So I don't tell Tesla, but I do have an inverter in the front of my Model 3 that I can hook up just in case I need juice. It happens to be the modified sine wave one. But the same thing applies for cars. If you have your car and it's full of gas and you need to leave it running and you're cool with that and nobody's going to steal your stuff and it's safe and it's not in your garage and you're not taking a little nap, do it.
In an enclosed space.
Yeah.
Don't on the exhaust pipe.
I mean, that seems a little extra, but if you really need to go and you need to go hard, then that's an option, but don't do that. I'm okay with that. If you need whatever, it all depends on the situation. If you're all in on keeping your shit alive, go for it.
Before we get to what I did, what else do people need to know? I mean, I know we're jumping around and we're giving kind of a bigger view of it. But I think that's okay because I think people are just scared like I was scared. So it's not as hard as it used to be, but what do people really need to know that we haven't covered already?
But realize that it will happen.
It will happen. And cut out this part. Have a plan. Have educated people who know how to take care of your stuff. So have them over and show them what to do before the bad thing happens. Have a kit ready to go. Have it as simplified as possible, like Rich said, redoing nearly 100% of his control stuff. Have that done already. Just take an afternoon and clean it up. Oh, what's in the kit is extension cords, power strips, backup stuff, anything that you think somebody, pardon, somebody who's coming over to help is going to need. And just have it in a cardboard box with handles, right? I took mine before I left on my trip. I took that box and put it in my basement to make it easy as hell on whoever was coming over. So know what your plan is, teach your plan, have your plan stuff available, and just keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It feels more complicated than it is, but it isn't. The simple thing is you need temperature and you need water motion, which means you need power. And there's a billion ways to make power. You just have to make choices. And there's no way you can not make choices, right? Because you even have to decide what size battery you want.
Yep.
There's all kinds of choices that only you can make.
But don't think it's going to be too expensive either, because you can start small. You can buy a small battery and then add batteries later and add batteries later and add batteries later.
Richard, what's the trick about adding batteries?
You kind of need to match the amp hour. So how much oomph is in a battery? If you have a 100 amp hour battery or like an 80 amp hour interstate, whatever the hell, motorhome battery, match that with another 80 amp hour or 100. You're just not going to get that 20 as easily. But try to match the capacity of your battery. So if you buy a 100 amp hour, spend the extra money and get a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate. Over the life of that battery, it is absolutely cheaper than the lead acid variant. And then when you add another one, add the same size. Doesn't need to be same brand, just needs to be same amp hour.
Same size, same voltage.
Yep. Are they not making these for regular internal combustion? Like, how come we buy these batteries that croak in about a year and a half, 2 years?
You talk about car batteries?
Yeah.
Cold cranking amps.
Oh, because
they'll give you more juice right now.
Okay.
And
by design.
You can't charge a lithium iron phosphate battery without some sort of battery warmer once it gets below freezing.
Okay.
Because it degrades the battery or damages it.
What if you have a solar system with a battery and you've got more on the system than your solar generates?
And that's okay. It's just going to not rebuild the battery.
Gotcha. So
while you're using it.
It'll be if you've got 400 watts of solar and you're using 600 watts,
yeah,
it'll just extend the runtime because it can't charge completely and it can't just run your stuff.
It'll charge a little bit. It'll extend the runtime a little bit, but that's where the controller comes in. So if you lose power, you start shedding load to make sure that you stay under your capacity. Plus, nighttime's coming, right? So have enough battery. If you're going to go all in, have enough battery to get you through the night.
Yeah.
And then solar can take back over during the day. Like my system downstairs during the summer will run all day on the battery until 9 p.m. And then it flips over to city power.
You
just got to be prepared for that.
How many watts does your system pull and how many watts of solar do you have feeding it?
I got 400 watts up on the roof feeding that MPP. And I have 200, 300 amp hours worth of battery in the closet. But I'm going to load shed. I'm going to take everything down to just the return pump. So that thing's going to run for quite a long time. And then I'll worry about heater later if that's something I need to consider.
So if it's just running, it'll use as much solar as it can and it'll suck whatever else it needs from the wall.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So these things are really, like we were saying, when I set it up, I was like, oh, this is it? This is stupid nothing. This is just, I connected the battery, put a plug to the wall and plugged shit in. And that was it.
That's it.
So it's great. And my system, we'll put links to all of it, was about $2,300.
I was about to ask you that. I was about to say this is subjective, but was it expensive?
It was $2,300. And that was just for the equipment.
I mean, a really nice generator is going to cost that much. Plus, you have to be there and have stabilized gas.
Exactly.
That's why Rich went big, right? You went big. My first system was 1,200. And that was the battery, solar, and the MPP.
Yeah, and I just skipped the solar, and I went bigger because you said I was looking at a 100 amp hour battery and you went, hey, for 400, 500 more bucks, you double your battery size. And it was like, that's a no brainer.
And you got a bitchin' warranty.
And I got a bitchin' warranty. It's a bitchin' system.
No, but so you load shedded. So you have the battery hooked to your Apex, telling it just to do a couple things. But your situation right now, how long could it go with that just circulation and stabilizing temperature?
What's on mine right now is all my wave pumps and 2 return pumps and a big Sweetwater air pump. And I think that's it. And that's about, when everything is cranking, that's about 550 watts.
Okay.
But you also live somewhere that's relatively temperature stable.
Yeah, so there's no heaters on that. Actually, there is one heater on it, but but I haven't decided if I'm going to keep that on there or not. Right now, it's programmed for that heater to stop working if the power goes out. Right. So I load shed. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jim. You're the guest.
Sorry. You had asked about wattage, and I was running a 300 watt heater when I had the old system before I put the new tank up. That was a 300 watt heater and all of the power heads and the return pump. So I have an 800 watt MPP. Yours is bigger. And I was probably pulling 450, somewhere around there, maybe less.
Yeah.
But I was halfway. If you look at a little thing that shows you how much oomph you're pulling from the MPP, it was halfway.
Yeah. The MPP should tell you how much oomph you're pulling.
Mm-hmm.
You press the little button, it goes.
You push a beep, beep, beep.
I'm running at 19%.
Okay.
Generally. When the power's off, it drops to 10%. So I'm load shedding in 2 ways. One, I'm pre-load shedding by determining what the only things that are going to be on the battery are the only things plugged into the battery. That's probably just not even a term, but it makes me feel special to say pre-load shedding. And then when it switches over, the Apex sheds load automatically. So like the closed loop pump is set to come on like every 15 minutes every hour instead of having that, because that's a big suck. Or actually, no, the closed loop just goes off because who cares? The return pump I can have set to come on X amount of time every hour if I wanted to. So there's stuff that might be using solar in a regular day, but when the power goes out, that stuff will stop working.
Your cyclical use of pumps makes a whole lot of sense to me, and I like that. Because why keep it running all the time when you just run it a little bit and then turn it off, or run it a little bit, turn it off?
Yeah. Not only that in itself would keep out the stagnation and just less use of power.
Yeah, I like that. So
those things will also be something I can probably control, so I can extend my runtime if I need to. You know what I mean? So I can just go, no, don't run those pumps at all. I don't need the closed loop running. I don't need, so the way I have it set up, I'm sorry, I have to explain this too, is that my router and my mesh network, at least part of it, and my Ethernet switches, which are important, they're on this system as well. So I can come home, and if the internet in the world has exploded, I can still make changes through the Apex local. Or do that from anywhere in the world. So it's kind of great. And I still have to kind of decide what I'm going to do. The general idea is to keep the wave pumps running at a lower amount that cycles up and down. So there's some big and some little and some different counter currents happening. And to keep the returns running. That's really it. And then I can dick with it. Let's go through it. Do you guys want to see the no, I should show you the schematic first. Okay. What do you think? Let's vote. There's 3 of us. Do you want to see the implementation, or do you want to see the schematic first?
Show the implementation now, because it's so boring. that you don't want to
schematic
lose.
is-
You
Oh,
hook
I
them.
was
You hook
voting
them with
for
the
the-
schematic.
I was
Oh, so
voting
sh-
for the schematic. We're stuck.
No. You hook them with the schematic because that's the exciting part.
Okay,
And
you're-
then just show them the boring as shit part now.
You're the guest, so you get to pick.
So the
Shimbo.
schematic. You're saying the schematic is the exciting part?
Yeah, because it's
I
spaghetti
told
and
you,
crazy.
Richard.
Okay.
I told you that the geeks would love this.
Okay, so here's my spare room. Here's the laundry room. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
Okay. I don't have. I can't see what's going on the camera, so I'm pointing things.
You're showing the MPP.
That's the MPP. It's got a screen on it. Does that work?
Yeah, that's
it's
sexy.
green.
You can see it's in bypass right now.
Nope,
If I
can't.
turn off power, check this out. I can turn off power. So I'm turning off house power, and it's switched over
that fast,
that fast.
no
Damn.
power break.
Power back on, into bypass. And it'll probably click on a little bit because it used a tiny bit of battery.
Yeah, the family.
And then the
room.
battery, here's the plugs, right? So those just go to various places in the house. And then there's the battery, which is super sexy. And it's got
Handles.
Ethernet cable ports that do something. I don't know what they are. And it's got lights on it that flash, and they kind of relate to the reality of the situation. But this would be super easy to get more batteries and put them in here and add it to the system if I wanted to.
in parallel.
In parallel.
What's up with the Ethernet cables? Do you maybe hook that to a router and it can communicate with that company, almost like a Generac does? Or
I
is it
don't
just
know.
simply for powering Ethernet equipment?
You gotta RTFM that one.
Yeah, read the fucking manual.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that people like Jim could use that I don't think I ever want to touch. Oh, the MPP also comes with 2 USB and a USB-C port. So
For charging?
for charging your shit.
So fancy.
It's so fancy. Of course, I've got everything hooked up to these things, which are, what are these things called?
Danger boxes.
No, this is surge protector, not just a
Okay.
power strip. Surge protector. I'm going to walk you to the other implementation part that you kind of have to see.
There's a
You guys see
hairless
this?
dog.
This is my shelf, and the
Uh-huh.
shelf opens now,
Oh, I just had a moment.
and there's all my stuff.
I
right?
can't stand
It's
up right now.
That's so much of it. I was going to hide all these wires, but I realized that I just do this.
Just be yourself.
I really
So
like
the
that
wires
shelf.
the wires are hidden. I'm so
amazing.
happy with that, Jim.
Yep.
We came up with that idea, and it was like, this has to be done. We did it
It's
a
so
week later.
badass.
Thank you. And it also gets a lot of access to the back of the tank in ways I didn't have before. Plus, there's
Is he breaking up for you, Ben?
Yeah, he is. Breaking
But-
up is hard to do.
You got some interference in there.
Yeah.
is that? Can you hear me again?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay.
When you're
just want to
when
show
you're in the
this.
closet, you're silent.
Yeah.
Okay. But
He's
you can
McClem.
see this. You can hear
Yes.
me while listening to this.
Yeah.
All right.
Ish.
This is the energy bar on the battery circuit. This is the one on T2. So I'm like adding circuits and labels to everything so I know how it's all connected.
Yep.
I can come back now. That's just the important thing to see.
No, it's super cool.
And I'm not the Apex itself to trigger the problem. I mean, to trigger the power saving modes or to detect power outage. I'm not
Right.
using the Apex to do it because the Apex, because my system is so distributed, the Aquabus cables need power. And if the Apex is not getting power, I can't get enough power throughout the Apex Aquabus system to keep everything running.
Are you using
So-
EBA 32? Ah.
I don't even
Go
know
ahead.
what the hell that means. EBA 32.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're using an EBA 32 to tell that your power's out?
Yes. So
Okay.
the two options with the Apex. The head unit can detect the power outage or an EBA 32. So this EBA 32 dies, so it's perfect. It dies in a power outage, and
Yep.
only this one comes on. Also, I got these things much better than a DJ power strip. This is a surge protector protected with switched outlets. And that just makes me very excited.
Notice
So
his
that's the-
cable management with the hair clips. I like that.
Yeah, Garble turned me on to these. These are the best things that exist ever.
That's genius.
So easy. And the light goes off when I close it.
Let me show you the schematic because
The schematic is super nerdy. You're gonna get a nerd boner.
So I was wrong. Oh,
Yeah?
I was
Schematic-
wrong because the fancy shelving unit that swings out, it got me there.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty
Yep.
exciting.
I didn't know.
You didn't know.
Knowing's half the battle.
Here's the battery schematic. The reds here are circuits. So I have 5 circuits plus the batteries. Is that true? Yes. Yeah, there's a circuit that feeds
4 plus
the
1.
lab 1, B1. B1 is, yeah, 5.
Yep.
5. Yes, that is correct. And it's just a schematic. The sky is here because we'll get to that in just a sec. The sky is connected to this circuit, and I don't like to know that. But the apex is where everything kind of happens. So the MPP and the battery are here, and they are connected to nothing on the apex. They just power things. The apex isn't doing anything to them. Everything goes through, a surge protector, and then they go to one links because a one link is a really good way for me to power the wave pumps in one place, right? So it becomes, it's just, they're going to make fun of me on the Discord. This is crazy, but it's actually pretty simple. Simple.
It would have been amazing to see what it was if you had done an as found, this being your as left. It would have been pretty sweet to de-spaghetti what you had.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
I don't know that would have been possible.
But that can live in space and time.
In space and time in our brain. So you can see the surge protector here, surge protector here. These 3 surge protectors are connected straight to the MPP. And that's where the apex uses, the surge protectors are then plugged into apex stuff. And that stuff makes all of these things go. All of these pumps and stuff go. So it's nice. Now, because I was doing this, I also did a schematic. I'm not sure how detailed I'm going to get with this, but I'm trying to break down everything that's connected to the apex system. So this is on the display apex. This is all the stuff that's not connected to battery. The red are actual outlets on the EB832s. And all the orange stuff is modules or probes. I may go color code those as well to make it kind of fun. And I may do an actual line schematic for what is actually plugged into what. I don't know if I'm going to do that, though, because with the apex, it kind of doesn't matter. But for somebody who is going to come and troubleshoot my system when I'm gone, knowing what's plugged into what could be helpful if they have to do something extreme.
Yeah.
And then this is like a more normal system. This is the lab apex, which doesn't have all that much on it. So this is just a lot easier to understand.
Can you tell me about alert light?
The blue one that you saw?
I saw alert light right there.
Here.
Yeah.
That alert light just tells me when my Schematic reservoir is full.
Okay.
And I put it on the battery backup system because there was an open outlet there, because there's a lot of open outlets on there because there's not much going on. And in a power outage, that just goes off. Although it's pulling like it's
power outage.
No,
Did you mean to misspell light?
Yes, I did. I did, because I like to see who's the asshole who points that kind of shit out.
Me.
In my talks, there's always one intentional misspelling, and it was only Jake Adams was the only one who used to get them. And then it's only been recently a few people have started saying something about it, which I think is pretty funny.
Jake possessed me for a second.
We had lots of alert lights at the Academy and alert sounds. And I used to use a lot of alerts with the Apex, but they just become annoying. I think the only alert that I really want a blinking light for is something to remind me to take action right now.
Yep.
Otherwise, I just get a text on my phone to check something, and that's easier for me than
We
having
call that dark
things-
cockpit. Only tell me what I need to know.
dark cockpit. Right. You know, if you have an alert every time your pH in your reactor drops below 6.5, you're going to kill yourself, right?
Like email alerts. Turn that shit off.
Turn that shit off. You only need it in one place. So that's my system. It'll get
So bad.
could get another battery at some point, right?
Mhm.
You know, as battery prices come down, it might be really interesting to get different batteries.
How much did that's your battery, the one with the handles on the floor?
Yeah, it weighs
Like-
like 50 pounds. It's fucking heavy.
How much
But
does
if that was a
cost?
lead acid,
It'd be like 800 pounds, right?
right? It'd be heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that company, whatever that company, EG Solar or something. I don't remember.
It was EG.
And I've looked at their MPPs and gone, damn, I should have got that one. And then I go, oh, they don't have plugs in it. They don't have outlets on theirs yet. But I think more no-brainer ones are coming down.
Wait, Richard, I want
Benjamin.
to reiterate on this. The funny thing is you just ordered some stuff and you put it together, because the thinking would be, you know, if I just saw that, it reminds me of like when someone gets like a split AC unit or something. Like, you can go buy the stuff, but you had to get a technician to come in and like drill holes in your house, and like literally you just ordered stuff and just plugged it in. There was no like licensed electrician needed or anything.
Well, all the other stuff done in the house was, we'll go with done by a licensed electrician. Yeah, we'll go with that. Drilling holes in the house, you know, I'm a fan of that. It's your fucking house. If you just drill a goddamn hole, you know, and a hole in the wall is nothing to fix when you move out. I don't know why people are so freaked out about drilling a hole through to get outside air. It's just nothing. When the cable people come, they just drill fucking holes wherever the hell they want.
When I ran solar, right through the wall.
Right through the wall. It just don't matter. And the system is just nothing. As it turns out, you add a plug to it to get wall power to the MPP,
Which is an extension cord you buy and cut, right? Is that how
right?
you did it?
Or you get one without, you get one without an end.
See,
like a
I
raw
like the
cord.
extension cord because you need the socket end to plug stuff into it. Mine didn't come with sockets. Yours did.
Right. Mine did.
And then you have the plug end to power the MPP. So you have everything you need from one extension cord.
It's beautiful to do it that way. And it's super easy to put that on because it even says, it says, screw the positive to this and screw the ground to this. And it's 3 screws. It's super easy. Took a second. Mounting the thing on the wall took more time, which also only took a second. And then connecting the battery also took a second, because this MPP comes with a cable harness. So you put on the poles of the battery, and then it's just got this block that goes in as a cable harness from the battery. So you don't even pay attention to any of that. It's just freaking delicious for an end user, for somebody who doesn't want to prepare their home for the apocalypse. They just want to kind of like survive the light apocalypse.
It's the most boring piece of reefing equipment I've ever assembled.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you don't sit there and marvel. You just plug it in and go, shit, now what?
I'm telling you guys, it was such a letdown when it was finally set up.
Yep.
Because I went through so many iterations of how this could all work and what to do. And then literally it was like, tick, tick, tick. And then I just plugged things in and it was like, oh,
Now,
yay.
Now on our Discord, we have a gentleman who was a nuclear submarine technician, and he has some big crazy DIY thing that he did, right?
Is that
Yeah, his
garbled?
battery's fantastic.
No, Scott. No, not
Yeah,
Scott.
it's Scott O.
Scott C.
Sorry.
Scott C.
Scott C. He's on mine too.
I don't know what he did. What did he do?
Oh, no, it's amazing. Look at his
He had like
pictures.
all these batteries in series.
Oh!
And it looked like
did see
something
that.
that if I messed with that, it would burn my house down in a second.
No, those are all Lifey. Those are all LFPs.
Really?
Yeah. Those are LFP cells.
Okay.
That was exactly what I did not want to do as an entryway into this. Now I'm going, oh, that's easy. You know, I was worried about something I didn't need to be worried about. It's not that hard.
His system is fantastic,
It's clean,
but yours
and
is
beautiful.
so easy.
Right.
Was his
that's
beefier?
what I wanted.
Yeah, he's got more oomph,
He's got more batteries, but I could just
but
get another
it's easy to
battery.
add batteries.
It just has a cable. You set it near it, and
You just hook them up in parallel.
You just put them, just comes with a cable and continue.
and they're like, and a new battery is under $1,000.
If I got the same battery when I bought it, it was like $14.99. I haven't
Okay.
checked the price since I got it.
But you essentially double your capacity.
You
Yeah.
absolutely do.
So the question for me starts to become, if I, because this is so goddamn easy, do I want to get another battery and then have some extension cords around the house to plug in shit in the event of a power outage?
Refrigerator. You're at
Fan.
19%.
Right. Or do I want to get a whole nother system and do it more from the breaker situation rather than from the plugs? So like my furnace is gas.
Yep.
My furnace is also 1,000 years old and I'm scared to look at it. But okay, I got to say this right now. I'm fucking amazed that shit works, right? Right. I got pumps on the system I haven't checked in 5 years. They work, you know?
Don't clean them.
I think as reefers, we talk about, you know, stuff failing all the time, but I think the reality is this hobby has become a freaking miracle where you can just ignore stuff for a long time. You want to ignore it the right way. You know what you're ignoring instead of actually ignoring it. But anyway, that's a tangent.
But you raised the point real quick because it's worth noting is check your plugs because they can start arcing.
Oh, absolutely. If you have decided that an extension cord into an extension cord is a good idea, it's not. Get a longer extension cord. Keep all your cords where they can start arcing away from any kind of water and not hanging, because if they're hanging, because you go, oh, it's a cord, it's in there tight. But as the electricity expands and contracts and vibrates all your shit, they can actually work loose a little bit. And then dusty, salty water can get in there and start arcing, or they can just start arcing anyway. I found one of those arcing, starting to arc here. It's scary. So check your cords every 5 years. Don't wait.
And when you do that,
years.
replace your GFCIs.
Yeah.
Every 5.
Yeah.
Nobody does
There
that.
you go.
Do that.
Nobody does that. And then you got to decide, do you want to get a GFI? Do you want to get the combination?
The A?
The arc fault interrupter. And there's so many choices there. The arc fault interrupter will stop a fire. So if the arc fault senses an arc, like when you have a plug and one of the blades is burning the socket out, it'll shut down if it detects that. The GFI is to protect your ass. If kind
That's
of
true.
almost literally, if the electricity is going to ground through you, it goes, no, stop. So I don't know. When I looked at surge protectors, I went down that goddamn rabbit hole. All of this shit's a rabbit hole, right? People are like, and this is, getting back to the gripes, to the beefs. People are like, get a whole house surge protector. It's exactly what you need. And then I looked into whole house surge protectors. They're not really what you need. They kind of are, but they aren't. And they all recommend cascading surge protection all the way down. So they want you to have a surge protector that you're plugging everything in, even if you have the whole house surge protected at the panel.
But then these people that go, GFCIs suck, they'll turn your tank off.
They can.
But it's like,
So can the A's.
Yeah, they all can. It's all down to your risk assessment and what you want to do. I mean, when GFIs came out first, 20 years ago, they were shitty. And you could buy really shitty ones in extension cords is what I started out with. And they would pop all the time. And
I
then
still
they
have
got
one.
better.
It's in my kit.
Yeah.
It's in my box of shit.
Do they not
Sometimes
make a GFCI that could text or call you with a message if it pops?
They make one with an audible. Keith shared that on one of his videos. They make one that beeps if it's tripped.
But
what
if
you
you're
want
not
to do,
there?
if you don't have an apex or something to tell you if there's a power out, this is coming from Jim sent some notes over. that said, "Hey, you assholes, make sure we hit these points, or I'll hate you." Which is like, that's an important one. How do you know your power is
How do you
out?
know? How do you know your juice is out?
How do you know if your power's out now?
I know because that Nest camera right there sends me a notification when it has lost connection to the internet. And I have several of those throughout the house. That's actually my first notification.
That's a great way to do it. Anything that will notify you that the power is out is the way to go. What's another simple way people could know a power outage?
Neighbor.
Neighbor.
Right. Yo, if we lose power, give me a call.
Yeah, I guess a Nest
Yeah,
cam
but
is
how are they
probably
gonna
the
remember
easiest
that?
way, right?
The Nest Cam
camera's
is, for me,
so cheap.
whatever system you have that's internet connected in your house that will send you a message through its app when it loses power. I just happen to use Nest, and it works great.
Yeah.
Apex, all of the controllers. I have, I've got Apex, GHL, and Hydros, and they'll all notify.
Yeah. And the Apex notices 20 to 30 minutes after it's lost connection. The Apex is polling, and if you don't want to get an alert that something's going on every 2 seconds, right? You want it to really be off.
That's the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah, delayed heartbeat.
Yeah. So it's great. You just need to know that. Some people get upset about Apex. It's like, power was off for 20 minutes and it didn't tell me. It's like, yeah, it's designed to do that.
Richard, you
the
never
manual.
answered me when I asked how long can your system run with it pared down?
About 8 hours. And about 8 hours, that's like 12 or 14 wave pumps, a return pump, another return pump, 2 Ethernet switches, two routers, and 3 1 links, which is really the same thing as the wave.
Is it as simple as you add another battery and then that's 16 hours?
Yep.
It's that simple?
And parallel means positive to positive and negative to negative, right?
And then when you hook it up, hook your positive to your MPP on battery A's positive and hook the negative up to battery B's negative. So you're not pulling from one battery. You're pulling from both batteries at the same time.
Okay. And how is serial?
That'll just
wired?
get you, because you're 24 volts, right?
Yeah.
If you hooked up your positive to another battery's negative and then hooked up your MPP to battery A's negative and battery B's positive, now you're rolling 48 volts, and that's bad.
Ah, got it. Okay.
That'll let the magic smoke out.
Yeah. See, and that tip Jim just said, either I'll look up in the show when I do it, or I'll, because I won't remember and I want to make sure I got it right, or I'll call somebody who knows, like Jim, or I'll look it up online, because actually I probably wouldn't look it up online because I don't know if I trust everyone online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Forums and aquarium stuff?
I'll ask in the Discord, and it'll be fine.
One more. Run your generator. If you have a generator, run it.
Do
Once
a dry run.
Once a quarter, go out, fire the thing up, eat dinner, and then go out and turn it off, and then fill it up with gas again.
I would even say, if you have a battery system like mine, run it once a quarter.
Exercise it, sure. Yeah.
You want to make sure that everything's doing what you actually want it to do. And then you can sit, and I need to do this again. I want to sit and look at the flow. I may be overflowing. I may have too much, more than I need. I might be able to get a longer run time by getting rid of it, by only running one wave per tank instead of 2. And I'm also looking at, I've got some C-J pumps to try out instead of my AC return pumps.
A CJ.
A CJ. So yeah.
I really do love Italy.
Okay.
Florence is beautiful.
You been there?
She's
I've been
really
there.
nice. I like Florence.
I went there for work, and then I had one day to play.
Anything else important we need to talk about this shit? Anything?
I think we
said.
People get nervous about their lights being off, but we'll do 3 to 5 days lights off, to combat cyanobacteria. Sometimes no problem. 3 days for sure, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna find, after a 3-day lights off, you're gonna find your tank looks damn clean when you get the lights back on.
Yeah,
This is
that's a
true.
good point. That's a good point. Let's go around for final thought, and then we'll get out of here and go put on pants.
Oh,
That's sad.
I'll go first. I'm gonna say the same thing I said at the beginning. Now is the time to plan for disaster. Right now. No, not before the winter comes. No, not before the summer comes. Right now. Right now is
Hit
the time
pause.
to do it.
Go do it.
Go do it.
we'll wait.
Have whatever your plan is, know what it is. I don't care what it is. Just have an idea of what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Because if you call somebody up and you go, my power's out, help, it's too late.
Well, they have their own problems going on too.
Right. Exactly. Ben, final thoughts.
Consider the amount of creatures that you have in your aquarium, the
You
dollar amount.
Motherfuckers. Go ahead.
So I decide to go and then you fucking interrupt it.
You took it.
Oh, that was
Not-
it?
Yeah. So all I'm doing is I'm intentionally delaying you so I can think while
You
talking. Go ahead.
motherfucker. I'm the motherfucker. No, I'm just saying, you're like, oh, a generator's too expensive. How much dollars of corals do you have in your tank? It's probably more than a generator.
You can get a
And
1600 watt WEN, WEN, from Amazon. It's the same as the Predator that you're going to get at Harbor Freight for $400, $500. And if nothing else, it's your insurance. Go get a generator, but be ready for the bad thing to happen when you're not there. So you have to have, I mean, if you care about the animals, have some sort of plan that will carry you from power out to you or somebody hooking up your generator. But buy a generator.
Buy a generator.
Buy a generator.
Buy something. Have a plan.
Here's a little parting thought too, Jim. In my
think it's
scenario, it doesn't have to
Like-
be
like
parting.
Parting
I
your cheeks? Go ahead.
I get two. Yeah, part the Red Sea.
I like when you snort. Go ahead.
Yeah. My scenario where I was out of power for like 8 days, batteries can't handle that, right?
Nope.
Okay.
Unless you
No,
have
I mean, that'd be a lot of batteries.
You'd have to have like an entire room full of batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
You'd
my
need,
car. My car wouldn't get my system through 8 days.
Yeah. I'd need 10 batteries to get through 5 days.
Wow.
No.
More.
I need 15 batteries. Sorry, 15 batteries.
Jesus. I mean, that's like $20,000.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying before. Do I want to add more batteries or get another MPP for the house, or,
But you also have the option of solar, so you make up some of that electricity loss while it's in use during the day. Did you fuckers do books when I wasn't here?
No,
No.
we didn't. Do you have a book? That'd be
I have
cool.
a book, but it's not about reefing.
It's
Okay, that's
Playboy?
fine.
I'm a space nerd and I dig rockets.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, a longtime family friend, was one of the pilots for Virgin Galactic. He has since moved on to Blue Origin, but I've known this guy forever. I think I saw him last time was 11 years ago, but we saw him on Friday for the SpaceX launch at Canaveral Space Force Station, which is still weird for me to say, but whatever. So we hook up with this dude. We were down in Florida doing a college tour and visiting a friend, and we swing by, and Forger is his call sign. I'm like, Forger, we're going to be close. He's like, meet me here at 11. I was like, sweet. So we jump in his car. He takes us out 2.2 miles away from SpaceX launch facility in Florida. Well, on it's not Kennedy. It's on whatever, Canaveral. And we sit there and we watch it. And I was like, this is so badass. But I know this guy, so I know the article in the New Yorker that he was featured. And then I have this book called Test Gods, which is a badass book to read about Virgin Galactic's effort and Forger's work while there, and some of the some of the creative flying he's had to do, some of his adventures. But because I know this guy and he's such a gentleman and he's so unassuming, you'll never know how badass this guy truly is in the cockpit until you read something like this.
Like, but he wears pants.
He wears pants.
Couple of pair.
I mean, he just rolls up and he talks and he's nice. And I was like, yo, tell me this story. Can you tell me? Can you tell me what it felt like? Because I look at him like, who's that mountain climber guy? The free solo dude.
Oh, that dude's crazy. Whatever his name
That
is.
guy. Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
that guy. The
I
guy
always remember
Greg
that
or
guy.
something.
No, it's not
on
Greg.
Netflix.
He's got crazy fingers.
Yeah, the guy.
Yeah.
with
He's got
fingernails.
these up the
Yeah,
wall.
he's
But whatever.
Spider-Man. He's Peter Parker. Peter Parker.
Yeah, okay, Peter Parker, the climber guy. Free solo Peter Parker. But I look at this guy Forger like I look at that guy. I was like, these people are so incredibly good at what they do. They know it, but they're like, nah, it's cool. This is just what I do.
I mean,
And
that's
this
how
is-
I feel.
I
with
know.
Reef Beef.
I mean, not just Reef Beef.
It's cool, you know. I'm just a regular guy.
But that's my book.
That's a good book.
Hey, beefers, thank you so much. And hey, I say beefers, but anyone watching this and they're like, what the crap's a beefer? So our fans are called beefers. So whether you're a beefer or not, I invite you to become a beefer, and we appreciate everyone watching. We greatly appreciate Jim being here with no pants on and talking about this battery crap like anyone cares.
You can
And-
also become a Graham Cracker and
Yeah.
go over to his pages and join up there.
Yeah, so we have beefers, Jim. Do you
And
call your
crackers.
people something?
No, just cool people who like to hang out.
Missed opportunity, my friend. Call
No.
your fans something.
No, I don't. God, there's so many labels, man. Why add
Just
more
crackers.
labels? Why can't we just be cool?
Yeah.
Plus,
got
we
beefers.
we share people, so people on mine are on yours,
I
and then we
know,
talk
it's
about you when you can't
Very
see.
true.
That's great.
But
We'll talk about you
anyways.
when we can't see too.
Thank you, saltwateraquarium.com for sponsoring us. Thank you, PolypLab for sponsoring us. Thank you, Champion Lighting and Supply. And really, the most important component of that is thank you, the people who watch this and click like and share it on all that, because without you people, none of this happens.
So special thanks to Snowman and special thanks to Jim Graham for being here. And until next time, from Reef Beef, stay moist.
What's up?
Where the fuck are your pants?
I
What you-
needed to get comfortable.
You're live streaming.
I'm not streaming. We're recording. It's different.
It's okay, Mrs. Telegram.
What?
It can be edited.
It could be accentuated. It could be enhanced. It could be.
Oh, enhanced.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
All right. Can I have my happy time with the voice?
Yeah, you can have your special time.
My special alone time. Okay, thanks. Okay, bye.
That was your doctor. He's in a padded cell.
Why the
It's
fuck are you
medication
wearing
time.
pants? Okay, but anyway,
Hey, beefers, we totally love you. Ben and I could just talk to each other all day, but what's the point of that? We've talked to each other before. Oh, you know what? Fuck this. Jim's here, but let's do this at the end.
Hey, that's good for a blooper.
Let's be respectful of Jim. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, he's not here anymore. That motherfucker was here,
Oh,
and then he
fuck
left.
him.
The
I'm getting ready for his microphone is way too sexy.
it says James.
No, it's not James. It's
It says James Graham.
Jimothy.
It doesn't say Timothy.
Timothy. You gotta.
damn, boys.
Did you just come out of the coal mine, or you just jumped off the bong?
I mean, it's up to your imagination. Boy.
Smoking a
once
bong
got-
in the.
You
Timothy,
are
we
now
missed you.
You are now in the bloopers, my friend.
I like that. I like that. So I like when you talk organically.
Dirty talk.
That speaks to me.
What? I want to wear a jacket now. I feel naked.
Please hold.
Do you have a negligee? A silk teddy?
Well, I mean, it's a.
Here it is.
oh,
That's good.
baby.
So we could be
See,
related
better?
at this point.
Silhouette. Yeah. Drop it like it's hot.
You need a sawzall.
when I get home.
Oh, yeah. Take the belt off. There you go.
No, it's not the.
Yep. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh my God! I just need to air those suckers out. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
let them hang. Get the bats out of your belfry. There you go. Oh
Okay.
man, I don't want pants on either.
Hold on. I mean, we could go.
Oh, you
No
don't have
pantsless.
those. You don't have those
Yeah, that's
weird
good.
those socks. Those
No,
little-
man.
sock-
I got
sock
elastic.
garters.
This ain't. I mean, that was in the Air Force, but they didn't give you good elastic back then.
Doc Otters is sexy. Look, I look like the dude from Empire of the Sun.
Yes.
A little bit. I wasn't ready. You have a voice of an angel.
Do I? I have the
Yeah.
heart of a child in a box.
Like, I'm really happy that I'm hidden from the waist down because
So are we.
that spoke to me.
You're sprung. You're
Julian
Julian
sprung.
Not Julian. Poor Julian. Like he never heard that.
The spring is
Yeah.
sprung. The trap is set.
No one's ever made fun of his name.
Never. Graham Cracker.
Oh, a wench. Your daughter was a wench.
Mhm.
Sweet.
A fine one at that.
A fine wench.
That's right. The little blue pill. Because drag queens are ruining our children, not dick hardening ads all over Facebook. Let's do a show.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
do the show. Do you want to do our disclaimer at the beginning, Jim?
Yeah.
Sure. I can do that.
You know the gist of it.
Gist.
Not grist. Gist.
Not the other thing.
I got my Mr. Miyagi on ready. I don't have pants either. So
Just like Mr. Miyagi.
one take wonder, bitches.
Yeah. All right, I'll do the intro.
Snowman
People
gonna
of-
speed that up a little bit too.
A little
Oh,
bit.
good
yeah, he's
job
gonna-
screwing that up, Jim.
Snowman's gonna put it up 50%. So it's like,
Hey, So look, this is generally an adult show. As such, you may hear things that aren't necessarily family friendly, and that's okay. However, there are some families that are perfectly comfortable with swearing, with leaving their kids in a bar while their parents do what they do and talk like they talk and just be who they are, because that's okay. But be forewarned, please, take heed. There is a chance you're going to hear foul language. Not that we pride ourselves on the volume of foul language, but just be aware that it exists and that it's okay. But if it's not, just wander off now, because you're going to hear some stuff, cool?
Absolutely true, Ben. Thank you for covering for me.
Son of a bitch! I have a champion shirt and I should have worn it.
You should have worn it. Didn't
That's
happen.
not a champion type maneuver. You have some
All right.
hairless thighs.
I mean, do you?
you do.
'cause-
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
What do I have? What do I have?
I'm a swarthy fellow.
Huh.
Do I wish I had your pants?
I mean, I can
Yes.
make that happen.
I will take your pants and I will proudly display them in my pants display.
I feel as if they should be delivered in person, though. Mail seems so impersonal.
Come
Okay.
on out. Yeah. And so there's a million ways you can go. Like for instance, here, why did that light just go out? That was weird.
Oh God damn it! You're having a brown.
God. There-
I don't even.
God's
even
trying
know
to
what
get your
light that was.
attention,
No,
Richard.
no, fuck that. It's big reefing coming after you.
Oh,
Yeah.
fucking
BRS.
big-
You insulted BRS. They're in your
Big s-
apex. They're
Big
turning
salt
so
is coming for me. What is it? It did it again.
This is God,
Why
Richard.
is that?
Stop
I know what
playing
it
with
is.
yourself.
Okay. It is.
Are you better?
Jesus. It is Jesus. Best movie ever. If you know the movie, put it in the comments. We're not going to say what it is, but you should go see it if you haven't seen it.
Jim, is your wife going to come back in and bitch about your pants being off?
Only if I'm lucky.
That's what a long-term marriage does to you.
31 years.
31 years.
So, Richard, but if you, wow, I want to use the terminology that Jim did. Or load
Pants?
shedding.
No pants?
Load shedding. No pants.
Load shedding. That's
Like,
exactly what you did.
I shedded when I showed up.
I just took my shorts off.
Oh, I got
Wait.
I got no panties on. I can't take
Oh,
my
you're-
pants off.
But I'm
I was
wearing
gonna
boxer
join you-
briefs. So
I was going to join you guys, but I'm commando.
show us your balls, bro.
So I'm sure glad I remembered that before I dropped them.
I'd show you mine, but I'm wearing boxer briefs, and that might be too explicit. Dude, Jim, because I was thinking of something, and then my little train ran off the tracks.
He's the guest. He goes last.
I want to be pissed that you both took mine.
Oh, what was I gonna say? I was just gonna say, oh, so you were the gasoline to our vehicle. So thank you for that.
Generator missed opportunity sport.
Generator, yeah.
They're the they're gasoline for the generator.
They're the electrons for the battery.
Fuck. Ben.
Why don't both of y'all just show me my missed opportunities?
Thank you all. Not damp.
Hey, damp. That's like
we're playing
Damn
with exit lines.
I like to stay moist.
Somebody
I like
suggested
it.
that this morning, so I went, why not?
It's like when you say that, like a picture of Betty White just flashes on the
Hell
camera.
yeah.
That's not
Stay
what I was
moist.
thinking.
Yeah.
The original
thinking-
Slippery When Wet album cover.
Yeah.